The L didn't always come first in LGBTQ. It used to be GLBT. The story of how it changed is a fascinating one. It goes back to the 80s with the AIDS epidemic. In the 80s, we started to see this strange and deadly disease, and people weren't sure what it was or how it was spreading, but it seemed to be affecting gay men disproportionately to everybody else. And it got to be this deadly force in the gay community. It's extremely powerful to listen to gay men who lived through that period talk about their experience, talking about going to funerals, sometimes multiple in a week, continually losing friends and loved ones, and it just decimated the community. Because it was disproportionately impacting gay men, it carried this terrible stigma. There were Christian organizations calling it a plague from God, punishing these men for their gay behavior. There were people who wouldn't touch or be around gay men because fear is incredibly powerful, and when there's a disease that we don't know everything about, it can be really easy to drum up fear for your religious or political purposes. An epidemic of a disease was ravaging a community, but because that community was gay men, they got blamed for the disease and created a stigma and a fear around medical treatment, as doctors wouldn't treat gay men with AIDS, as people couldn't get the care and medical support they needed. It was lesbian women, especially lesbian nurses, who stepped up in medical care, caregiving, community support. They could see the damage of the stigma, and they stepped up to care for people with AIDS in one of the darkest periods in LGBTQ history, at a time when the rest of America abandoned them to die. Over the course of the 90s, to honor these lesbian women who stepped up to help these sick people in their dire moment of need, organizations began to switch it to LGBTQ. There was a cultural shift that accepted that LGBT was the order it would be in honor of these lesbian women, nurses, caregivers, activists. I get emotional thinking about it. I can understand the courage it took to care for patients with AIDS before we understood what was going on. And I can understand, of course, it was lesbian women who had experienced their own lifetime of discrimination and hate and had the strength to stand up when they were needed. Of course, it's the LGBTQ community that understands the importance of undermining patriarchy that would always put the G first and the L second. Why is this story so important right now? Because this Pride in 2026, the trans community is under attack, and there are parts of the LGBTQ community that want to distance themselves from the trans community. When it's politics or hate groups or even disease, when they have come for parts of this community, we band together and protect one another. And like the L coming first in the LGBTQIA, we honor that history by banding together in the face of any oppressor, of any discrimination, of any hate for any one of us.